much evidence of everything that happened. This is insane. This is insane. This couldn't possibly happen. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I decree shenanigans. Don't you dare say this to me. It could never happen. And guess what, Steven? It's basically based on a true story.
It's what?
Hello, welcome to We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
And I am Stevie Wildcard.
And every week, Stevie Wildcard and I get together and we do our best to overcome the various issues, obstacles, and distractions that life throws our way, and we make comic books. Most recently, we've been working on a D&D inspired supernatural action horror comedy comic called Deathless. We're on issue 3 of it, which I'm super excited about. Steven, how do you feel about the book so far?
I'm loving it. The humor is definitely turned up in this one. Like the opening sequence, the opening few pages is pretty silly and awesome. I've been loving drawing it. It's a pleasurable. I have Deathless down to a science, so it's cool. Drawing my hero, you know, I'm like drawing like the
drawing my hero. For those of you who might not be aware, our very first book, Played Again, was a semi-autobiographical time travel graphic novel musical that people stole and made a movie of. We'll talk about that later. But it was based on my life, and Steven had to draw me 4 billion times a day. He spent a year of his
so
life
many panels
just drawing me, and I was just like, I need more, Steven. Draw me more. And he was like, nay, I will never draw you again. I was like, please, a little. And he's like, okay, fine, once in this book. But what he really wanted to do was draw himself. He decided, he's like, I've had enough of you. I'm gonna draw me.
You know what I love? Cousin It from Addams Family and myself.
If only we can marry these things. I mean, it's really what this book was. I went to Steven. I was like, listen, Steven, I'm really into the Addams Family right now, and you're my favorite person. I just need these two things. It's not a kink. It's not a kink. It's not a kink. If I say it enough, we'll both believe it. And he drew it. But yeah, so Steven, what did you get done this week?
I got an entire page done from start to finish. So no roughs, no nothing. And it's one of the best pages I think I've drawn.
Hang on. I need you to take that like obvious super victory and take it down like several notches. Like, let's just reasonably let's imagine.
If I nonchalantly do it, it makes me sound even more arrogant though. I just roughed out a page.
Okay, that might be fair, but I'm just saying, I'm not gonna name any names, but between the two of us, one of us did not get our work done this week.
And it's okay because the other one usually does get some hella work done. So I mean, the other one already has the entirety of issue 3 written and 4. Good portion of 4, and probably knows how it ends, and has worked on a movie script, and has
okay, I love you, and I appreciate that. But for those of you who don't know, every week we begin the show talking about what we've done, and whether or not we succeeded or failed. This week, obviously, Steven, you freaking succeeded!
Bam!
Like, dude, it's amazing. Could we show people like stuff, because it looks so. I love the pages you're working on. They look so freaking good. And I like that.
Anthony cracked the code too, because he felt, he's like, I don't want to put too many panels on a page, so I'm just going to put like 3 panels on a page. And he knew I'd be like, oh, I want more panels on this page. It would fill it out with even more panels.
It's funny because that really is like what I had in mind. Because I was like, there are only a few pages throughout the book where I'm like, oh, it needs this many panels at least, but there are some where I was like, it can be told in this many panels perfectly. But if
Steven feels like it, well, I wanted, especially with the first panel, I wanted to. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was drawing the page before, I had read the script prior, but I was just literally looking at the page, So like the page I was working on, and then when I got to the next page, and it was like the box, like, and he's on top of it, like from Teen Wolf, and I'm like, oh shit, that's an entirely different looking kind of box truck. I mean, it's a box truck, but it's not the box truck that I drew. And I'm like, okay, so I got to figure out a way to make this still kind of. I wanted that homage to Teen Wolf, so that's why I did the whole handstand. Yeah. Like he flips up and lands in the handstand, and then
so good. I'm so excited. I'll post a picture. And what I was going to say was, I really like that we can share these pages because, although, yes, it's a spoiler in that it's something that happens 3 issues into the book, it's nothing that gives away anything.
This is literally just the segue to the book.
Yeah, it's travel time, and like it's.
We haven't unlocked fast travel yet. You're still having to walk from town to town. So
look, I'm gonna say it is one of my writerly weaknesses. Is I have trouble with timing, with like skipping through time, and like comic books. a perfect medium for just like from panel to panel. You can go a million years, you can go 3,000 years.
Straight up, man. X-Men comics are like, Apocalypse in ancient Egypt to like
100%.
Cyclops blasting a Sentinel.
Yeah, 100%. Whereas I am just like, nah, we need every single moment. You need to know what's going on. Like if he goes pee, you're gonna see him go into the bathroom, closing the door. Like, and I'm just like, stop it, Anthony. But it does allow for like some funny like gags and stuff. And
which I'm going to use this as a selling point though, because you'll see the page right here. Those two people in said box truck, the reason why their faces aren't very detailed is because those are cameo appearances. So when the Kickstarter does go live, if you want to, the two truck ones, I think we should almost be their own tier because they have like talking, they have like a speaking role and everything, and they have like 2 pages of appearances.
That's true. So if you're interested in being in our next book, keep an eye out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all that stuff. But like hit the subscribe button so you get updated with our episodes. You'll know when our Kickstarter is coming up. So we're going to be talking about that soon. But Steven, your page looks freaking amazing. Steven, for the last week I was fighting off like a sickness. I was in like deep denial about it. Like, those sicknesses where you're like, well, you and I both suffer like bad sinus issues.
I mean, today was pretty bad sinus day because of the front. Yeah, we know this.
and I have that issue. So, I was kind of like, is this just sinuses? Is it not sinuses? Thankfully, I was off of work and I was like, it won't matter. I'm not doing anything anyway. So I'm just going to stay home and deal with, and then I died. I was just like, my whole body died. I was like, I'm sick. This is very sick. I was like, my throat was hurting. I had to cancel my Dungeons and Dragons with Critically Stupid, which made me feel terrible. But thankfully everyone was like, okay. And they didn't murder my character and like, play without me. But dude, I was...
Bard just slept.
Yes. Yeah.
Slept the night off.
The Bard slept the night off. But dude, like I felt like trash and it was so rough. And like I'm a freaking single dad. You know what it's like? Like, you know what it's like just as a parent and as a person being sick, and then as a parent being sick, dealing with like having your kids around, trying to feed them and make sure they're alive and like doing kid things. And then it's like so like dealing with all that and like trying my best, it was, dude, exhausting. I'm so exhausted this weekend, and I'm just now like finally starting to feel like I can breathe a little better. Like,
isn't that something that sucks about like being in your 30s and getting sick though, is like the recovery time is a little slower. It's like, man, my 20s, it was like day 1 sick, day 2 starting it, and day 3 I'm 100, I'm ready, let's go.
Let's and now I'm just like, that when I was feeling weak 3 days ago, that was the beginning of it. It was like it kicked down the door of my body. It was like, now I'm shaking. What is this? Like, who am I? And on top of all this, Steven, like while I'm going through all this, there was a couple days ago, I woke up not feeling well, just barely recovering, just like on the upswing, but like barely, like all right, life, let's go. Like I wake up, I look at my phone. You know how you do, you wake up and you look at your phone to see like what's going on in the real world, in the internet. And I had messages, and the messages were all about a movie called The Greatest Hits. And Steven, that day I received, I think it was 5 DMs from 5 different people who don't know each other, all about how this particular movie was clearly ripping off our book Played Again. And I was just like, cool. Like, this is great. No doubt. Like, so I obviously I shared it with you. Such a weird thing to feel like, and
I was trying to be Mr. like silver lining optimistic, like like saying it out loud just made me sound so stupid. I'm like, and you like could be, I guess music transports you, but man, it's just seeing the vinyl get popped on and then her literally teleport into the memory, like it was just like, I don't know if I can spin this to make myself believe that this wasn't some form of plagiarism, Yeah.
Well, what's weird is, okay, so I understand. People have parallel thinking, parallel ideas. We're all in the same world. We're all constantly imbibing, ingesting, consuming, and digesting the same or similar, content and media and movies, music, all this, and similar experiences. We're all on our own, hero journeys. So like, I get that, like, yes, we all, so many of us go through anxiety, like have anxiety or in loss and grief and depression, all these things. So like, you can imagine that people with similar experiences could have similar ideas along the way. Yes. So yes, I understand. I remember years ago I watched a thing. I think it was the Trauma Dance like DVD. It was like a documentary. It was like how to like make your own movie, Trauma Edition, and it was like they interviewed James Gunn, right? And James Gunn, I'm sure everyone knows who James Gunn is now,
Mhm.
but James Gunn at the time he was only known for like writing a trauma movie, I think Slither and Scooby-Doo at the time, but like James Gunn was interviewed by Lloyd Kaufman, and he said he was like, I when I write, I sit down and I act like there's someone out there who's writing the exact same thing that I'm writing, and I try my best to like write it faster and better than he possibly could, but I focus on the faster, and like do this.
Mhm.
He's like, because the truth is there are a million people out there doing similar things at the same exact time as you, and like, you have to at least you have to get the work done because it's going to happen. So that was kind of reverberating in my head when I watched this, but it was like I looked at the dates, and I looked at the times, and I couldn't help but see that like you and I have been out in the world saying that we're going to make this comic book, and then we've launched a Kickstarter publicly, and the Kickstarter was out for a solid month, and it was obviously successful. So I imagine how easy it would be for anyone in Hollywood or anyone with any amount of like, money and like or like producer credits or those sort of capabilities to go through successful Kickstarter campaigns and simply say, "Hey, that one has some fire behind it. Let's just make a movie of this idea." And that because if you all like, what better free
What better
market
writing
testing?
pool do you have to pull from than just
Exactly.
successful Kickstarter campaigns? And
Yeah, you literally have a successful marketing campaign already. You're like, oh look, there's already like that's just it's a test audience right there. They see an idea, they like the idea, therefore the idea is hot. Now there we go. Let's go make a movie of this. Like that's like why and of course would I love if they would have just approached me and be like, hey, your life story, that thing that you're doing is interesting. What if we did these things to it and made a movie? I'd be like, oh my gosh, yes, please save me from retail, and I will write that movie for you, Mr. Movie Guy. Like, are you kidding me? Yes, I don't like. So I saw that there are now two movies. There was one called Press Play that came out a year after our book came out, and then there is this new one, The Greatest Hits, and they both have like very similar, nearly identical, plots. And the Greatest Hits one at least looks, it looks like it's going to be a good movie. It looks cute, it looks fun. I'm gonna spoil the movie for you right now. I guarantee you that no, I don't. But like,
dude, I'm just saying, if a green energy tentacle grabs her at any point,
no, I know what they're going for in that movie. So in that
yeah,
movie, similar to our book is
but
about
it's lost in a different way, right?
yeah, well, yeah. Her ex died. So she wants to go back in time and save him. But then of course she starts spending time with this new guy and all this, but he's a little aloof and a little weird, but also perfect for her. And I was like, okay, but what if he's traveling back in time to the memories where he met her and he knows that she's going to die or something like that, while she's doing that. So they're both in this situation where they're both, going back to the past and all this situation, so they're, coming to terms and relating over that. And I'm sure it's going to be cute. I'm sure it's going to be a tearjerker. But you know what else was? Play it again. Our freaking book, Stephen. And it kind of broke my heart a little bit because I like it is nice. It does like it feels good knowing that the idea and concept is there enough that people would be willing to and interested and, and capable of throwing money at it in like producing a movie of this thing, which means that yes, we do have like ideas that have legs, as far as like what people see having some sort of potential. But like I know that, Steven. I know that. I love our ideas. That's why we're making these things. It drives me crazy, dude.
Yeah, that's like I said, dude, because I'm usually able to like convince myself of whatever I need to convince myself mentally. And
yeah.
I couldn't spin it. I was like, it's just I'm hoping it's entirely different. I'm hoping the trailer just makes it seem more similar to our book than it actually is going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just not a I don't.
Yeah, well, the frustrating thing is we live in a reality in which like you can get sued for using someone's song or using lyrics from someone's music or whatever, but like or a character in particular. But as far as ideas are concerned, you just simply can't copyright them. It just doesn't, you especially you and I, like normal, decent people just trying their best out here without billions of dollars. We have no leg to stand on, no matter how ethically right we may be, or it doesn't matter. It's unfortunate as heck, because if I were to make a cartoon right now called Mike Mouse, we would get sued and have a cease and desist letter, even though it's clearly not Mickey. But if it looked even close to a mouse,
If that thing has red overalls, so
if
help
it had wrote
me.
exactly, and that's the thing. So it's like you can try and like
I'm not
try
gonna
like
say
carrying
who
you
it
out.
was because I'm not sure how much into the world that he's even made it aware. But we're not even the only like project where that's happened to from Kickstarter from a fellow friend of ours. And like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one was like, I mean, that too, like of all things, of all
Oh no,
premises.
and it's going to keep happening. And I feel like the only thing we can do is make our books the best way we can, in the only way and that's to be fair, the best way they're ever going to be translated. Is the idea is
We should cross reference though. We should check the producer list on both the horror movie
oh,
that came out and then this movie that's coming out right now.
that's true. Well, this movie that's coming out right now, I think is of a like a higher caliber.
Higher, yeah, it's on
It
because
is. Well, the director, I think, is the guy who made The Fault in Our Stars, and like he's like
Oh, okay.
he's
Yeah, he's made so.
actually.
Yeah, I because I like immediately went to go read his IMDb just to see, and he writes and directs it. So maybe it really is just a coincidence
It,
thing.
dude, it could be, and like how it's just so weird, Steven. And like I don't know, maybe like I what I remember is literally sitting in my home as I'm packing my boxes, putting on a record, and having that thought of like, oh my god, this is like literally taking me back in time. Like I was literally doing the thing in our book that we showed in the first pages of our book, and that's how the idea of our book came to me. It's like that's I don't. I mean, what does this? Do they just have the same experience? Maybe maybe they do. Like that's why it is. Yeah, it's relatable, but it just sucks. Like timing wise, how frustrating is that? Like
Hmm.
how frustrating is it that like we worked so hard on a thing for over a year, and then a year after we published ours, a movie comes out, and then a couple years after that, another movie comes out with the same plot, and it's just like, okay, well, my problem with it really is that we talked about like making the musical version or making the like a play version, making a movie of it. And if we were to ever try to make a movie of this, it would be compared to those other two movies now, no matter what we did. We're always tethered intimately to those things, as frustrating as that is. And it's like, I mean, that's true and it's not. I know people will forget about those or never hear about those to some extent. Hopefully, maybe watch what's gonna this greatest hits movie's gonna win an Oscar, and I'm gonna die.
As he accepts his Oscar, and I just want to let you guys know, just a little tease for next year's movie, Cousin It meets superhero franchise, baby. We're gonna do it. We're gonna take all of it.
Never Die. It's called Never Die. Wait, what? That's not even a good title.
Basically, he has a hard time pitching it to. He's got these roommates, and there's like this demonic ritual. Like it just takes. It's D&D inspired. Like no.
Oh, dude, but but whatever. What are we gonna do? Like we keep kind of taking ideas that come from our lives and we do our best with them, and we just have to keep working hard at all this stuff. That's all it is, dude. I don't know. I was kind of like in the dumps about it, and I was already not feeling well, so it wasn't great. But while I was sick and not feeling well, I saw that there's a movie coming out starring Jake Gyllenhaal called Roadhouse. Steven, there's a
Is it
remake.
a remake of Roadhouse?
Yes. Okay. So I saw that there's a remake of Roadhouse, and I was like, I haven't seen Roadhouse in years. I was like, I need to watch Roadhouse again because, and I'll tell you, I'm not a remake hater, like naturally. I'm sure there are some that I would immediately scoff at, and I'd be like, "Oh my, wait, you're remaking Monster Squad?" And then I'd still watch it, and I'd probably still love it. but but I do think like I think the quick inclination to hate remakes before seeing them or at all is kind of silly if you think about it. It's a little silly just because they never do anything. They're either good or they disappear. Like it doesn't like it just like that's
doesn't steal from the original. It just dies. It just
like
dies where it's at.
This is a remake. The Thing is a remake. It's better than the original. People like, and when that happens, people are like, "Oh, wait, that was a remake? What do you mean?" You know, and that's how that works. You know, but like this movie in particular, I was like, from what I remember, this movie is bonkers. Like, is this movie as weird as I remember? I have to see this. So I watched it, Steven. I watched Roadhouse. Have you ever seen Roadhouse?
Dude, I can't even think of a plot point which would cause him to have to learn how to rip somebody's throat out.
It makes no sense, Steven. This movie is insane. Like, okay, Steven, imagine for a second. I want you to just like, let's go on this mental journey. So imagine for a second, you're the owner of a bar, okay? This bar is having trouble. You're in a super small town, right? It's having trouble. The locals are so rowdy in this bar. Every night they're just fights and it's crazy and you don't know what to do. Now I imagine there are several things you can do, right? Like I imagine I mean, local people, you can just pay them to be bouncers. You could just kick people out. You can get police or pay off duty police or there's just a various security operatives. But if you wanted to go above that, if you were like that one just won't do, you do, Steven. You what you do? You find the most popular, well-regarded, renowned, legendary bouncer of all time, Patrick Swayze, and you go find.
Could you imagine having that title? Like, I am the bouncer of bouncers. They call me Rubber Band. Like, I am everything that there needs to be in the world.
The weirdest thing about it is everyone knows him. Everyone's like, wait, is that freaking Dalton? Dalton. Like, they all know. He's like this mythical figure in the world. There's like, oh my God, I heard he murdered a guy. Hey, is it true? Did you really do that thing you said? Everyone knows Dalton. How does everyone know this random ass bouncer? He's just a bouncer, Steven. And like the funniest thing about it is he's not the only legendary bouncer in the movie.
There's competition.
There's
another one.
But like it's so funny because he's just like he calls Sam Elliott, who has like a really dude. By the way, it's an old but super way younger than we're used to seeing Sam Elliott, looking handsome as hell. Doesn't have just a mustache, has like a nice like shadowy beard situation, and is also a super legendary kick-ass bouncer that everyone seems to know. And they're all like, "Wait,
you know changed the name of the game."
Dude, it's insane. They're like the Avengers of bouncers. It makes no sense. It's crazy. And then, okay. So he shows
Sam Elliott, rip throats. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always ripping throats.
So like, dude. So okay. Patrick Swayze shows up on the scene. He's just like, I'm not gonna tell anyone who I am. They're gonna know. And he just like posts up at the bar. And as like people walk by, they're like, wait. That's Dalton. That's Dalton. Oh my God, it's freaking Dalton. Dalton. Oh my God. And it's just like, everyone's like, oh yeah, no. We know all about this guy now. First he watches and he's like, okay. They're dealing drugs. He's skimming from the cash register and also overpouring, blah, blah, blah. So stealing money, dealing drugs, prostitution, like all these different things. So he's like, you're out. And they're like, you're gonna regret this, mister. And he's like, no, I'm not. Why do we all sound the same? Dude, so he kicks these people out, but then you find out that like the people he fired, one of them is the nephew of a super wealthy, like multi-millionaire, billionaire guy who has his own helicopter and is just wreaking havoc on this town, like basically like the big boss, like mafioso guy of the smallest town in the world.
Like the town that celebrates bouncers.
So this rich guy, okay, his nephew gets fired. So he's like, not in my small town. I'm the millionaire here. I'm the mayor of this town. And they're like, no, you're not, but you're a millionaire. So, okay, we'll treat you like you're the mayor. So he's like, this isn't happening. They all get their jobs back. And Dalton, of course, they're like, no. So then they butt heads and he causes all this trouble, blah, blah, blah. My first question, Steven. The owner of this bar knows that there's this multi-millionaire guy who is related to this guy who's your bartender. Why didn't you just ask the multimillionaire guy to do anything about the bar? Be like, hey, Mr. Multimillionaire guy, can you get like some bouncers in here? Because the bar that you kind of own because of your nephew and the fact that you own the whole town, it's kind of screwing up here because of the drugs and all this stuff. And he'd probably be like, oh yeah, I don't want my bar to be like that. You know, like he would have.
Ain't gonna be no drug safe haven.
Yeah. Or just like if anyone's gonna sell drugs, it's gonna be my drugs. You know, like that kind of thing. But not the case. It's all about like this guy's ego, you know, it's like his ego and how it like he's like the son of that town and like his weird solar system of like bad guys, like his cartoonish villains just like, you know, revolve around him and just cause trouble in this whole town. So Dalton kicks everyone's butt. He just destroys everyone. Like they don't stand a chance. And then the freaking millionaire is just like, I'm gonna get a Dalton of my own. And he goes and he finds like a Bizarro Dalton. He finds like they don't explain this guy. Steven, they don't even explain him. He shows up. Bouncer. He shows up and he's just like, you remember me? And the Dalton's like, yeah, you're also a guy. Like, we do this, you know? And like, they fight. And then it's like, they kick each other's butt, but Dalton loses a little. And it's like, oh, no, this isn't okay. And then it just, like, keeps escalating forever. And I'm just like, nothing in this movie makes sense. And everything in this movie is perfect. And I can't believe it's going to be remade. Like, I can't believe it, Steven. How are they going to justify anything that none of it makes sense? It didn't make sense in the 80s. It wouldn't have made sense in the 90s. It is not going to make sense now. This is insane, Steven. There's a scene. I'm not going to go. Okay, this the last thing I'll say, Steven. There is a scene, okay? Now you might think, you know, what are you going to do? It's a millionaire. Okay, there's a scene. This millionaire has his guys get in a monster truck at a car lot. And they get in a monster truck and they drive over the used cars at the car lot. Now,
it's literally just like producers like telling them each scene that needs to happen, so there's carnage and destruction, so that people will spend money to see this action movie.
Okay, you can tell me. All right, yeah, the millionaire has the cops in his pocket. Okay, I want to see the full movie of those local cops trying to justify this guy driving a monster truck over the property of someone else, like driving, just completely demolishing someone else's cars. Just like, oh, no, he didn't do that. That didn't happen. Everyone saw it. We all say we saw it. We're all obviously right here. And there's evidence of the monster truck. See the wheels? There are no wheels in a 4,000-mile radius. Like no one has a monster truck except for him. And that's what he just freaking did. And like, it's crazy. Like how would they justify it? What are they going to say? Yeah, I don't think that happened. I don't think.
No, I can't prove it was a monster truck tire that did that.
So Steven, so to that effect, the end of the movie, I'm gonna spoil the original Roadhouse for everyone because it's very important that I do this. And I want you to listen, even if you haven't seen the movie and you're like, oh no, don't spoil it, because it doesn't matter. None of it makes sense, but this is the most important and fascinating thing about Roadhouse, okay? And I just learned this today. Steven, at the end of the movie, this millionaire somehow, this old man is going toe to toe with Dalton, like fighting.
Something that he can fight too.
Oh yeah, of course he can. He's like, oh, and he even says like, yeah, I've been waiting to take you on or whatever. He's just like, oh yeah, we're gonna freaking do this. So they're fighting, right? Dalton eventually, like, he kind of is like has his backs against the ropes, so to speak, and then the millionaire gets shot, and then you see that it's, you know, someone from the town. Then the millionaire gets shot again. And it's someone else from the town. And then someone else comes in. And it's just all of these people with guns going, and they're all shooting him, and he dies. And then the cops come, and the police come, and they're all like, I didn't see anything. I didn't see who did it. Did you? No, I also didn't see who did it. Nope, no one saw a thing. Anyway, roll those credits. I guess we're good. And then they all walk away. That's it. That's the movie. And we're like, okay, cool. Like, what? What do you mean? There's so much evidence of everything that happened. This is insane. This couldn't possibly happen. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. the Kree shenanigans. Don't you dare say this to me. It could never happen. And guess what, Steven? It's basically based on a true story.
It's what?
Steven, okay.
From Dalton's perspective. So this really legendary bouncer. Yep, legendary bouncer.
Okay, okay, all of the bouncer stuff is all made up like action movie westerny like badassery for right like for fun movies purposes. However, Steven, I would like everyone in the world to Google Ken McElroy because this is a real story, Steven. Like this is a real thing that freaking happened. Okay, so
he was like a rich guy that had this town by the balls, basically.
Not even that. He was a super dick who had the town by the balls, Steven. He was a terrible person. Like so bad. He had, oh my God, Steven. He was, I can't even explain how bad this guy was. Just like the amount of abuse and violence and theft and like just assholery that this person embodied. Oh, it seems unbelievable. Like it seems like a cartoonish villain of a person. And so much so that this guy went around town just wreaking havoc on people, stealing things, doing all this nonsense, right? So this is what happens. He has, by the way, I'm just so you know, I'm like, just this guy is a terrible person. He had like an underage, he was basically like, you know, like assaulting a minor and made her his wife and this whole thing, and she got pregnant and then he had kids with her. He's terrible. All in all, monster of a person, just bad
rotten
guy.
to the core.
Rotten to the core. I don't believe otherwise. Like this guy, if there is evil, this guy is it, right? Like he is the worst of the Krugers. Steven, so one day, his daughters are in the shop, local shop. It's a small town, right? Just like in Roadhouse, small town. Everyone knows each other. It's and his daughters are in the shop, and they're like, "I really want this." They didn't have any money. There's poor family, didn't and they went, "Yeah, but our dad, he's kind of a badass around here, and no one's gonna say anything. Let's just steal it." So they try to steal it, and the shopkeeper starts saying like, "Hey, you can't just steal stuff." And he says something to them. So this guy, Ken McElroy, comes back with a shotgun and he shoots this freaking shop owner just for calling out the fact that his daughters stole something. Like they did something terrible. They did something bad. They were just called out, and he shoots this guy trying to murder him, right? So, dude, this guy, oh my God, this whole story, he sets this guy's house on fire. He does all this crazy stuff. The town, Steven, has enough of it. They know that nothing's gonna this guy, he gets away with it. They're like, they go to trial and all this stuff. They're like, not enough evidence to prove that he set this fire and that he did all this stuff. The town has enough of it, and they're just like, we're not gonna take it anymore. Like we're like, he's gonna murder someone. He's gonna hurt someone again, and we can't do this. So one day, this guy gets in his truck, and something like 40 to 60 of the people from the town, which is a huge amount of people.
That's a lot. You pissed off quite a few people.
That's that's huge, right? That's like all of
to get 40 to 60 people to just be like, nah, this guy specifically.
Yes. So like, dude, so they basically circle around his car and just friggin' shoot him, just fire squad and shoot him, and he dies. And then like the cops come and they're like, oh, what happened? And they're like, we don't know who did it. We don't know. No one saw anything. And it was just like freaking Roadhouse. They're like, we don't know. Can't say. Sorry. And they fade into the distance and the credits roll. And to this day, no one's been punished for the murder of that guy.
Damn, man.
Yeah, isn't that crazy, dude?
Small town USA is crazy, though.
I mean, well, and I'll tell you, for those of you who are going to look up more information about that, there's a documentary about it that I'm dying to see, because apparently, Steven, after the fact, that specific small town went real bad with it. Like, I guess they realized that like they could kind of get away with something. Like
they could be the judge, jury, and executioner for. They're not Batman. They're Batmen. And they just.
Yeah,
they basically brought the Salem witch trials back.
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah, it's you either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain from Roadhouse is what happens, because holy crap, they start like people disappear in that town and bad things happen, and it's crazy. There's a documentary about it. I can't wait to freaking watch it. So if you watch it, let me know what you think, because oh my God. But dude, I don't know. Like that movie is so funny. I can't wait to watch the Jake Gyllenhaal one. Can
you imagine being Hollywood and being like, oh, we got to definitely do something with this. Yeah, but how do we tie it all together? Bouncers. You literally could have put anything. Oh, they could have been like Rambos. They could have been like vets that came back to town, and they like, maybe
Yeah.
that dude was a douchebag on their platoon, or
Mhm.
there's so many plot lines they could have created to make
So
him a
many.
badass,
Yeah. And
but
like,
they landed on Bouncer.
dude, it's so funny. It cracked me up because like, and I don't know, maybe it went the other way. Maybe it was like, oh, I need to make a movie about my life. I'm a bouncer who rips throats. No one cares about me. I'm no Tachi. And I'm just like, okay,
I need to pair this with a real life story.
yeah, so he's just like, oh, like, what do people really care about? Oh, okay, a real villain. That'll get him going. A millionaire, though. I'll make him a millionaire instead of a poor guy. What? Like, dude, it's so funny. I love it. It's watching movies like that, though. And then especially when they get remakes, like, I'm just like, okay, so here I am. We wrote our first book. We made our first book. Someone who isn't us made a movie of it, and now like I watched like Roadhouse, and they're making a remake of Roadhouse of all things. I'm just like, we can make a movie. We can do this. Like there's
There
no
is some writer that walked in with all confidence with Roadhouse script, and Roadhouse is cult and culturally like it broke the mainstream. I mean, it's a big movie from that era.
People love that movie. And by the way, super fun. The whole movie is fun. It's
I think we need to give credit where credit is due, and let's be real. I think just checking out his movies, Patrick Swayze could have made anything he wanted to, and people would have bought tickets to it. I mean,
100%.
I mean,
you know what's funny though? Patrick Swayze was kind of like a low-key superhero in several of his movies. Like Ghost is a superhero movie. Roadhouse is a superhero movie. It's weird to watch. Like he's literally just
Dirty Dancing. Even he's like the superhero of dancing. Like
it's true.
But like, don't worry, I'm using my ghost powers. What? I got him when I was a bouncer for Roadhouse.
He does have a really interesting filmography. But oh god, yeah, rest in peace, freaking Patrick Swayze.
Yeah,
but,
it was crazy.
I don't know. It did make me a little more excited to make a movie, and I've been thinking about that lately. I'm just like, well, we have to make Stakeout before someone else freaking sees our thing, and it's like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna make this movie because like it's
Jake Gyllenhaal in Takeout. What? It's not even a play. It's not even a play on the words. Yeah, but Jake Gyllenhaal
take out these vampires.
Jake Gyllenhaal kills a vampire with chopsticks in it, and it's so much cooler than your guys' Damn it.
Damn it. I mean, you have that's a really good one, actually. Oh, and yeah, he'd have the rice. He'd already have the rice for the counting. Oh, Steven, what are we doing with our lives? We need to make Takeout. It's so much better than Stakeout.
Hey, Jake. Instead of remaking Roadhouse,
we know you're watching right now.
Takeout.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that though. But yeah, dude, speaking of Stakeout, I need to figure out like what the next steps are to actually make it. I'm getting, I'll tell you, admittedly, I'm a little nervous about it. I really don't want it to suck. I don't want it to feel like a home video. I want it to feel like a movie. And
I think we lean into what I said before. I don't know when we do it, but I think we should try to do a high production music video for one of the covers we did. Yeah. And like that maybe will instill confidence in you that you can do some epic shots, some epic makeup.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, no, definitely, dude. And I think part of it is like I want to I like my camera I have, but I do want to get a better camera for the movie. And it's like I do have some decent lights, but I want to get better ones, like more, where you can adapt things, like it'd be more specific, like with like you're tweaking. But I don't know. I'm excited for it, and I do want to do some tests of it also. Like I'm trying. Like I initially wrote it to be in a Jeep, but I wanted it to have like a sunroof, But I was like, it doesn't need that as long as we have. I don't know. I'm trying to make it as good and as convenient as possible. Like I want to make sure we have access to everything already. Like I don't have to rent a special car to make our movie. I want to make, that's why like I changed it to be we're gonna film it at my house. Like we're gonna film it right where I live, and it's going to be like I drew out like a blueprint of like how the cars have to be situated and everything, and it all makes sense. I added lines in the script to justify why we're at a house and not a duplex, because the reason I talked about that on the podcast before, but like it's like I think it all makes sense. I'm just a little nervous about it. So like to your point, I do want to do some tests one way or another, whether it's music video or like just like getting together and reading some like random pages from the book, from the script,
And just shooting
Just
scenes
shooting
just to
scenes
see.
for fun. Like, yeah, not like, oh, this is definitely going to be used in the movie, but like, no, let's just shoot like some test footage and see like what we can do and like learn from it a little. Like, I want to do that. I think we should take like just take a night, take a day and just
Mhm.
do that sometime, in like the next month or so. That'd be cool.
I'm down.
We need to hang out anyway.
Yeah, it's been too long.
Yeah, dude, we need to hang out. Like we got to hang out
We got to arcade, but it was only a couple hours, and like it was at a location. It
yeah.
wasn't like
No, it's not the same. We need to hang.
we need to go get we need to like film and then go get Nice Guys or something like
Heck
that.
yeah. Oh, dude, yes.
I haven't had Nice Guys in like a minute, so
let's do it. We need to. We really do. So I have some things that I really want to work on for the movie because I want to get the Kickstarter going. But speaking of that, what are we gonna work on next? Like, what are you gonna work on this week?
oh, I'm gonna keep pushing through, man. My goal is always going to be to try to get 2 or 3 pages done in a week, but it does seem like a page and a little is like my with what my schedule is now. So I'm at least gonna get 1 page, but I'm always gonna aim for 2. So
Awesome.
page 5.
Dude, I mean that's awesome. It's funny when you think about it, you need I think it's like 10 pages of consecutive sequential art like finished to pitch to like Dark Horse or Image, so it's like we have 2 issues and 5, we could be like, hey, here you go if we wanted to. So it's cool. Like so if you think about it, just this issue alone, you're already halfway to a submission to what the big time.
It's true.
It's cool. Like 5 pages is a lot. It's significant.
And honestly, this book should start moving. I mean, there's gonna be some pretty cool, like trippy stuff happening in it. And then there's obviously the little segment at the end that kind of leads into issue 4. But yeah, I'm excited. This is the hump. It's always the first 10 pages are like this really like tough like climb, but then it really does just start kind of sledding down.
Yeah,
so
it's true, dude. And it's funny because I think it's like multiple things, right? It's kind of like you start feeling the rewarding aspects of like the pages coming together, but also
I also think it's like the theme of each issue. Like I think is what it is. Like you don't like it's like for example, issue 1 was a different issue than issue 2, but there is like these themes that are going on in each book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like once I start drawing the characters that are present in this particular issue, and they're more easy to come up with, and like Brian, like when I was first drawing him and his like as it was happening, it was a little rough, but then eventually he just became part of my repertoire of characters, and then was just drawing him versus Deathless, and it was easy,
Yeah, for
so
sure. No,
I'm
dude,
sure M is going to be a little tricky at first, and then it's going to be no problem.
Yeah,
she's got some pretty cool stuff. I'm excited for Galactus, like
oh
the oversized. Like,
it's good. I can't wait. I was like, I'm so excited for that stuff because like that was one of those things that just like occurred to me where I was like, wait, why am I being so like white bread about this? I mean, because I was like,
she literally is in control of this entire like reality.
I was like, this
right
is
now.
her reality. Like,
this is the reality Infinity like stone. Bubbles come out of guns. It's like.
Yeah, dude. So I like that made me excited, and like I'm so excited. I'm like, it's funny because like I am excited to see the whole book. I actually for issue 3, dude, I'm really excited to see like chunks of the book, which is really cool. Like I'm like, because like the whole flashback scene, I'm super excited to see. The whole M like beginning stuff I'm really excited for. And then like the end sequence at the park, I'm super excited for too. I think it's gonna be funny. I don't know why. Just like I think it'll be like cute, but it also like look cool. But anyway, this week I'm gonna try to do the like shot list, like 3 scenes, and I'm gonna try to write 3 pages. That's what I'm trying to do, like 3 and 3. I really want to start working on building the Kickstarter for the movie because I think we have to do that at some point because that's the kind of project that like we're going to get out there and then we're going to have a year to produce and like to make the movie, to actually like film it and then edit and get all the music and all that stuff, and it's going to take a lot of time, so like it's a whole production, so like I want to get the Kickstarter done. Honestly, I don't know how much to ask for. I don't like I what I want to do is I want to go over the script and figure out like how much certain like specific things are going to cost that I know I'll need, like how much is it going to cost for the actual makeup stuff. I can figure that out. And like how much is it going to cost for like the lighting kit that I want and like the camera and such that I want, like the sound equipment that I want. How much is that going to cost? And then on top of that, I'm going to need some time off work. So I'm going to have to put some, and that's part of what a production is. So you pay the people, to make it. Like if I have to pay you money to be in the freaking movie, we're going to do it, like we have to find a way we have to find a reasonable amount of money that, we can ask for people, that we can actually gain, that we can actually earn, from the people. And it's scary, dude. I don't know, because like anything above like $3,000 to $5,000 feels like a lot of money to me, but the truth is anything below $10,000 feels like a student film, like it feels like that's not enough. And I'm going to be shortchanging myself. I'm going to end up being one of those people who's just like, I know, guys, I was supposed to make this movie 2 years ago, but I didn't ask for enough, and now I'm hoping for my tax return or whatever. And I don't want to do that. I want whatever. I want the Kickstarter to pay for the movie the way we want it to, and the way people will want it to. So it's scary. I just have to come up with a budget and just go for it and be brave and hope for the best. And like I think my big fear is like we haven't failed at a Kickstarter campaign yet, but it does happen. And like, it could happen and maybe it will. And I'm trying to just not let that define my actions, and just, not let that fear define how I feel about it. Cause I think it deserves to be successful. I think it's a fun script. It's a great idea. And I think that you and I can totally pull it off. I'm just nervous as heck to ask strangers for that much money, so So we have to, that's partially why I want to like get together and film some like test footage and stuff and just be like, hey, look, we're like, this is our like fun test thing. And maybe we can even film like a Kickstarter video, like trial thing, to
absolutely
to go along with it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna think about budgeting this week. I'm gonna work on 3 pages of the movie.
I'm gonna crunch the numbers.
Crunch the freaking numbers. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for paying attention, listening and supporting us and showing up every week. We really do appreciate the heck out of you. I'm sorry that I've been sick. I'm not feeling well, Steven. No, but dude, I love you, Steven. You're amazing.
I love you too, Anthony.
Book is
You're
coming
amazing.
together. I love this book. Also tell Tina I love her. Just
Tina loves you.
No, but thank you all so much. We really do appreciate you. We know that it's been a really weird, long journey to making these comic books, but we're doing it. We're freaking doing it. Let us know what you'd like to see in the Kickstarter for the movie, or what you'd like to see in issue 3 of Deathless, because we're freaking making them. We're making these things, and this is happening, and we would like you to be a part of it. So let us know, like, if you'd like to be in the book. Are you interested in a speaking cameo, just a background cameo? Let us know. And like, I don't know how much to ask for if we do separate those, Steven. We're like, oh my god, crunching.
I know some books do separate roles. I mean, I was also debating on just throwing like close friends in just as those truck drivers so I can finish a page. I'm like, but no, I can't think that. Like we gotta like try to
we
support
the Kickstarter thing, and it has worked. People have shown up, and you know what, dude, I really do like the final pages, like seeing like the cool employee of the month or like whatever she used to do, and like that stuff's really fun. So I like that, and I think people really appreciate that too. So what do you want to say to the people before we go?
I love you all. Thank you so much for your consistent and like undying like friendship and support. It really does help me, because like drawing those pages takes some serious time. So like knowing that there's people out there that want to see the story continue does definitely give me motivation. So thank you so much for being that voice in my own head. So
yeah, 100%. Thank you so much. We freaking love you, and we hope that your projects are going well. Now, we didn't distract you too much with our nonsense. But if you have a second, just go watch Roadhouse. It's the funniest thing in the world, and know that we love you. I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
This has been We Have Issues. We'll see you next week.
Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Roadhouse.
Roadhouse. Throat rip.
Very Jake Peralta of you. Motherfucker, I just realized I'm fucking Boyle. I'm your Boyle. How did I just realize this?
From now on, when I say Cambria, you have to go, no, Cambria.
Cambria. Like, seriously, I'm your Charles Boyle. That's crazy.
I mean, I'm your Charles Boyle too.
To be fair, we we roll swap, you know.
I mean, I think
sometimes we're a top, sometimes we're a bottom. It just
right. We're best friend switches. That's all that matters.